In the heart of Vatican City stands a fortress of power, wealth, and divine authority. For the first time in history, an American occupies the throne of St. Peter, Pope Leo XIV. His official title, Supreme Pontiff, Vicar of Christ, Sovereign of Vatican City. But behind the religious ceremonies lies a world of unimaginable luxury that few ever witness. From golden thrones to bulletproof vehicles, from priceless art collections to personal staff catering to his every need, the life of Pope Leo XIV is more lavish than most billionaires could dream of. Yet officially, his personal wealth is $0. How can the leader of a church that preaches humility live surrounded by such opulence? What privileges does he enjoy that even presidents and kings would envy? And how does a man from Chicago navigate this ancient realm of power and wealth? Today, here at Billionaire Exclusives, we take you inside the golden walls of the Vatican to reveal the extraordinary life of Pope Leo XIV. Subscribe now and press the notification bell to explore more hidden worlds of power and privilege. From Chicago streets to St. Peter's throne. Robert Francis Prevost was born on September 14, 1955, at Mercy Hospital in Chicago's Bronzeville neighborhood. His father, Louis Marius Prevost, served in the Navy during World War II before becoming a school principal. His mother, Mildred Martinez, worked as a librarian and had a diverse heritage, including Louisiana Creole, with Spanish, French, Haitian, and African ancestry. Growing up in Dalton, a modest suburb south of Chicago, young Robert attended Catholic school where he sang in the choir and served as an altar boy. His classmates knew him simply as Bob or Rob, a bright mathematics student with an early calling to religious life. From his teenage years, Robert expressed his desire to become a priest, recalls a childhood friend. He had this quiet certainty about his path. In 1977, after graduating from Villanova University with a mathematics degree, Prevost joined the Augustinian order, taking his first vows in 1978 and final vows in 1981. By 1982, he was ordained a priest in Rome, the same city where he would, 4 decades later, ascend to the church's highest office. His brilliance led him to earn a doctorate in canon law from the Pontifical University of St. Thomas Aquinas in 1984. But it was his missionary work in Peru beginning in 1985 that truly shaped his worldview and leadership style. "Peru changed everything for me," Pope Leo XIV once said. "When you serve the poorest of the poor, you understand Christ's message in a completely different way." His administrative talents propelled him through church ranks, Superior General of the Augustinian Order, Bishop of Chiclayo in Peru, and eventually Prefect of the Dicastery for Bishops, one of the Vatican's most powerful positions. Then came the historic moment. On May 8, 2025, white smoke billowed from the Sistine Chapel chimney. Thousands gathered in St. Peter's Square erupted in cheers as Cardinal Deacon Dominique Mamberti announced in Latin, "I proclaim to you a great joy, we have a Pope." Cardinal Robert Prevost had become Pope Leo XIV, the first American Pope in the Church's 2,000-year history. In that moment, everything changed. The man who once lived simply in a modest apartment now commanded the vast resources of a sovereign state. The Chicago native who once rode public buses would now travel in bulletproof vehicles with security rivaling any world leader. The priest who took a vow of poverty now resided in one of history's most magnificent residences. The world watched in fascination. How would an American pope, especially one known for championing the poor, navigate the extraordinary wealth and luxury that comes with the papacy? Life inside the golden walls. The Apostolic Palace, Pope Leo XIV's new home, is less a residence and more a kingdom unto itself. Covering 162,000 square feet with over 1,400 rooms, it stands as one of the world's most magnificent structures, filled with priceless treasures accumulated over centuries. The Pope's residence makes the White House look modest by comparison, notes Vatican historian Marco Bellini. It contains museums within museums. Every corridor, Every ceiling holds masterpieces. Upon entering the papal apartment on the 3rd floor, visitors first notice the stunning views overlooking St. Peter's Square. The Pope's private quarters include a bedroom adorned with a 4-poster bed draped in crimson velvet, a marble-lined bathroom, a private chapel for morning prayers, a library filled with ancient manuscripts, and a study where world-changing decisions are made. The Pope's day begins at 4:45 a.m. with private meditation. By 6:30 a.m., he celebrates Mass in his personal chapel, often joined by a small group of Vatican officials. His mornings fill with briefings from the Secretary of State and meetings with church leaders from around the world. Even with 1,400 rooms, the Pope's schedule only allows him to use a handful of them, explains former Vatican insider Cardinal Giuseppe Martinelli. The Sala Clementina hosts formal receptions, the library is for private audiences, and the study is where most daily work occurs. What makes papal life truly exceptional isn't just the surroundings, but the extraordinary privileges. Pope Leo XIV enjoys a level of service and security unmatched by most heads of state. The Swiss Guard, in their distinctive Renaissance uniforms, stand watch 24 hours a day. Their colorful appearance masks intensive military training. Each guard is proficient with modern firearms and tactical defense. When the Pope travels, security preparations begin months in advance, with routes secured and contingency plans established. A dedicated staff ensures the Pope's needs are met instantly. Personal physicians are always on call. Chefs prepare meals according to precise specifications. Private secretaries manage his schedule down to the minute. The paradox of the papacy is fascinating, observes religious scholar Dr. Elizabeth Chen. The Pope officially owns nothing personally, he takes no salary and has no possessions, yet he commands resources worth billions. Indeed, while Pope Leo XIV's personal net worth remains at $0, he enjoys access to art collections valued in the billions, buildings worth incalculable sums, and the revenue from Vatican museums, which welcome over 6 million visitors annually. But perhaps the most valuable asset isn't material at all. It's the Pope's unmatched global influence as spiritual leader to 1.4 billion Catholics worldwide. Treasures beyond imagination. Every day, Pope Leo XIV walks through corridors lined with masterpieces that museums worldwide would compete to display. The Apostolic Palace houses over 70,000 priceless artifacts and artworks spanning centuries of human creativity. When the Pope enters the Sistine Chapel for private prayer, he stands alone beneath Michelangelo's ceiling, a work of such magnificence that over 25,000 visitors crowd to see it daily. Yet for the Pope, this artistic marvel serves as his personal place of contemplation. Few people realize that many Vatican treasures aren't even on public display, explains art historian Dr. Alessandra Romano. The Vatican Library contains over 75,000 codices, including illuminated manuscripts from the Middle Ages that scholars consider priceless. The financial value of these treasures defies calculation. A single Raphael painting in the papal collection would fetch hundreds of millions at auction, if it could ever be sold, which it cannot. Pope Leo XIV dines using silverware crafted by 16th century masters. His official documents are signed at a desk once used by Napoleon. When receiving heads of state, he sits on a throne inlaid with precious gems and gold leaf. For transportation, the Pope has access to vehicles unlike any other. His primary car, a modified Mercedes-Benz G-Class, features bulletproof glass, reinforced panels to withstand explosions, and an independent oxygen supply. The famous Pope Mobile allows him to be visible to crowds while maintaining security. For longer journeys, Alitalia provides a customized Boeing 777, informally known as Shepherd 1, when carrying the pontiff. The front section transforms into papal quarters, with a bed, desk, and chapel. The contrast is remarkable, notes Vatican correspondent Maria Gallagher. This is a man who once rode buses in Peru's poorest neighborhoods. Now presidents and prime ministers wait for his arrival, and protocols dictate they must come to him. Perhaps most striking is the Pope's global communications infrastructure. From a control room near his private study, Pope Leo XIV can broadcast instantly to every corner of the world. A team of translators ensures his messages are simultaneously available in 8 languages. When Pope Leo XIV speaks from his balcony overlooking St. Peter's Square, over 150 countries carry his address live. A single papal tweet typically reaches 50 to 60 million people within hours. No CEO, no president, no monarch commands this level of immediate global attention, explains media analyst Christopher Wong. When the Pope speaks, the world literally stops to listen. Yet amidst this extraordinary power and luxury, Pope Leo XIV maintains certain humble habits from his earlier life, including rising before dawn to pray alone, just as he did as a missionary in Peru decades ago. The paradox of papal wealth. Despite commanding resources that would make billionaires envious, Pope Leo XIV technically owns nothing. The moment Cardinal Prevost became Pope, he relinquished personal ownership of everything, from his wristwatch to his family photos. The Pope exists in a fascinating financial paradox, explains Vatican economist Dr. Paolo Venturi. He controls vast wealth but possesses nothing. He lives surrounded by luxury but takes no salary. This creates an extraordinary contrast. A man who preaches simplicity while residing in palatial splendor. Each morning, he wakes beneath frescoed ceilings painted by Renaissance masters. Yet his personal bank account remains at $0. The Vatican Bank, officially known as the Institute for the Works of Religion, manages assets exceeding $5.6 billion. While the Pope doesn't personally own these funds, he holds ultimate authority over their allocation. A single papal signature can direct millions toward humanitarian efforts, construction projects, or diplomatic initiatives. People misunderstand Vatican wealth, clarifies church historian Father Thomas Riley. Much of it isn't liquid capital but cultural heritage that can't be sold or leveraged. The Sistine Chapel generates tourism revenue but can't be mortgaged or divided. Still, the Pope's daily life involves extraordinary financial privileges. He never carries money, yet lacks for nothing. When Pope Leo XIV wishes to send a personal gift, perhaps to a childhood friend or former colleague, the apostolic camera handles all arrangements anonymously. His meals come from a kitchen staffed by professional chefs trained in Europe's finest culinary schools, while Pope Leo XIV prefers simpler fare, often requesting dishes reminiscent of his childhood in Chicago. The Vatican kitchen can prepare virtually anything he desires. Pope Leo occasionally surprises staff by preparing his own breakfast, reveals a Vatican insider. He'll walk into the kitchen at dawn and make scrambled eggs, a habit from his days as a missionary when he cooked for fellow priests. When world leaders visit, they present the Pope with lavish gifts, from jewel-encrusted religious icons to priceless historical artifacts. These items immediately become church property, displayed in the Vatican museums or stored in climate-controlled vaults. Perhaps most remarkable is the Pope's complete absence of financial worry. He'll never receive a bill, balance a checkbook, or concern himself with retirement savings. The Church provides everything from healthcare to housing for life. There's profound theological meaning in this arrangement, explains Sister Maria Gomez, a Catholic theologian. The Pope models complete dependence on God and the Church, owning nothing, yet lacking nothing. It's the ultimate expression of Christ's teaching that those who lose their life will find it. Power and paradox. The power wielded by Pope Leo XIV extends far beyond spiritual matters. As head of a sovereign state, he enjoys diplomatic privileges that exceed those of most world leaders. The Pope holds a unique position in international law, explains Dr. Sofia Moretti, professor of international relations. He can't be prosecuted by any court. No government can compel his testimony. His communications are protected by diplomatic immunity more comprehensive than that of any president or prime minister. When Pope Leo XIV travels abroad, his security detail rivals that of the American president. Streets are cleared hours in advance. Counter-snipers position themselves on rooftops. Electronic jamming devices block potential remote detonations. Yet unlike political leaders who serve limited terms, the Pope's authority continues until death. This lifetime appointment gives Pope Leo XIV extraordinary autonomy in setting long-term policy for both the Church and Vatican City. No CEO answers to fewer people, notes corporate governance expert James Wilson. The Pope reports directly to God, according to Catholic teaching. There's no board of directors, no shareholders, no election cycles. It's the ultimate leadership position. This freedom from oversight extends to private life as well. Pope Leo XIV's schedule, health status, and personal activities remain largely shielded from public scrutiny. While presidents face constant media coverage, the Pope can withdraw into the private sections of the Apostolic Palace where few are permitted to enter. The Pope's daily interactions occur almost exclusively with people who answer directly to him: secretaries, advisors, Swiss guards, household staff. Even cardinals must request an audience rather than appearing unannounced. This isolation creates a complex dynamic. Despite commanding vast resources and global influence, many popes describe feeling profoundly alone in their role. The papal throne can become a golden cage, reveals former Vatican official Archbishop Miguel Rodriguez. Everyone treats you differently once you become pope. Former friends now bow and call you Holy Father instead of using your name. Pope Leo XIV has tried to maintain connections to his pre-papal life. He occasionally calls childhood friends from Chicago and former colleagues from Peru, though these conversations are now filtered through the formalities of his office. Some mornings, he walks through the Vatican gardens alone at dawn, a rare moment without handlers, advisors, or security visibly present, though security personnel monitor from a distance. The challenge for any pope, observes Vatican correspondent Julia Chen, is remembering your humanity when everyone treats you as more than human. How do you remain humble when hundreds bow as you enter a room? How do you stay grounded when your face appears on prayer cards worldwide? The man behind the throne. Beyond the gold and grandeur, Pope Leo XIV remains a man with personal passions and struggles. He maintains his lifelong love for tennis, occasionally playing early morning matches on the Vatican's private court. He follows Chicago sports teams and keeps a White Sox cap in his private study. The greatest wealth, Pope Leo XIV said in his first papal address, is not found in palaces or bank accounts, but in faith and service to others. This philosophy guides his papacy as he navigates the ancient corridors of power. The man from Chicago now leads the world's oldest continuous institution, controlling resources worth billions while personally owning nothing. Perhaps that's the true paradox of Pope Leo XIV's story. Extraordinary wealth alongside absolute poverty, ultimate authority with complete submission, global influence with personal humility. A man of contradictions, leading a church of mysteries, from a throne of gold. If you've been fascinated by this glimpse into Pope Leo XIV's extraordinary world, you've only scratched the surface of what BillionaireXclusives offers. We take you behind closed doors that remain locked to ordinary people. From royal palaces to presidential compounds, from billionaire estates to diplomatic fortresses, we reveal how the truly powerful live. Subscribe to BillionaireXclusives now and activate notifications to access our full library of exclusive content. Each week, we open another door into the hidden realms of wealth, power, and privilege.